So again, if you want to see this continue, do you need tax cuts to make it all happen? Do you need that to put the official stamp on all of this? Over the last year, roughly since Donald Trump's election, the market has added better than $5 trillion in wealth. So the thinking seems to be that he would provide a hospitable environment to keep this going, and at the very least, besides reducing rules and regulations, that he would provide the environment, the tonic, of course, being tax cuts. How do they stand? And are they going to confirm this rally and bring us even higher or not? Let's go to Market Watcher Scott Martin, Catherine Rooney Vieira, and FBN's Charles Payne, the host of Making Money on Fox Business Network. Charles, what do you think?
I'm not so hung up on the idea that we must have tax cuts to keep this going, because the wheels of progress, the wheels of commerce have already begun to turn. Yesterday we had a manufacturing report from the New York Fed at a 3-year high. It dovetails with almost everything that I'm looking at. You know, the night that President Trump was elected, American businesses came out of their foxholes and went back to what they normally do. And that's an attempt to grow market share with a better mousetrap and aggressive actions. And we're starting to see it play out. Obviously, a tax cut would be wonderful. It would help. But I'm not so sure it's a deal breaker.
Scott, what do you think?
I'm in the tax cut camp, Neil. You know, I think the market got boosted earlier this year with hopes of a tax cut. Don't forget, back in, I think it was February, Steve Mnuchin told you, my friend, that we were going to have this all done by August, and here we are talking about maybe Christmas. So, listen, I think the market has found some sea legs since then. Earnings have been awesome. We're entering another earnings season, which I think is going to be banging from the standpoint of numbers, blowing away expectations. Tech companies as well are going to carry that water. But I'll tell you, going forward, we got a great opportunity here to bring back the trillions of dollars, sports fans, that's sitting overseas because of oppressive tax policy here in the United States. You fix that and get that money back here, you're going to see Dow 25,000 by the time the tax cuts hit.
Yeah, you think about it, that's not percentage-wise that big a leap from these levels. But, Catherine, one of the things I noticed very late in the day, we got word that there might be a sort of a consensus bipartisan agreement on health care that would be treated favorably by Republicans and Democrats and has the support of the President of the United States. You know, the devil's in the details, but it would call for continuing tax revenues to buttress those who can't get coverage on their own. But it would be a short-term fix, but a fix nonetheless. How would the markets react to that if that happens? Is setting the stage for bipartisan support on tax cuts as well?
If that's how the market takes it, and if that's what leads to tax cuts and tax reform, Neil, I think the market will love it. Let's face it, the market was earnings were in recession until 3Q of 2016. That means 1Q, 2Q of 2017 had favorable base effects. We had double-digit growth both in the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average. My view, and I concur with Steve, is that we are going to need additional impetus to get this rally moving higher. Earnings are everything, and we cannot sustain double-digit earnings growth without companies growing their bottom line. How do you grow the bottom line? Lower costs, hiring less compliance guys, investing in your company, and growing your profits, which is more take home for these companies and less of a tax take.
Yeah, well, the other idea that's bandied about, Charles, is get rid of a lot of rules and regulations. That's how this president kicked off his administration. We're going to be talking to EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt on that. He has led that effort, controversially, I might point out. But his take has always been that is something that financially unburdens companies and unshackles them to do all sorts of things that we see playing out now. So if you had to sort of pick what is driving this, would it be the expectations of tax cuts or regulations, real regulations going away?
Real regulations going away has had an amazing impact. You saw the National Association of Manufacturers saying that concerns about the business climate, the number 3 concern. 2 years ago, 80% said it was number 1, already having an impact. Let me tell you something. Yesterday or this morning, Caterpillar got an upgrade. Let me tell you what the street's looking for. Next year, they think they're going to earn $6.67. 3 months ago, the consensus was $5.32. The wheels of commerce are moving already. And if people are waiting for a tax cut and this, they're going to wait, and the train is going to leave without them. It already has begun. And one of the reasons why is because of regulatory reform and the assumption that other things will happen. It won't be as grandiose as being advertised, but it's going to happen.
You know, Scott, you could make the argument that if in the middle of all of this they are able to score a bipartisan deal on health care, it might not be to either party's liking, but it would be a way to advance the ball. Wall Street could respond very favorably to that, tax cuts or no tax cuts. I still think they want to see those tax cuts, but what about you?
Yeah, that would be something that could assuage any concerns of tax cuts being further put off into the future. And I'll tell you, Charles is right, Neil. If you look at the business confidence surveys, look at the consumer confidence surveys, multi-year highs, because now we have a White House. We have a D.C. that is at least business-friendly, not, say, business-fearing. And I think going forward, if you're looking at investing in the S&P 500 companies, you've got to take that to heart with respect to the hiring plans, the spending plans that U.S. businesses are going to have because of the confidence they have in the White House.
All right, guys, I want to thank you very, very much. The read from Washington on all these fast-moving